Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you. Today, we're going to be sitting down and interviewing Brandon Bryant.
Welcome, Brandon.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here with us today.
I'm so excited.
And it's so nice to have you back in Miami.
Yes.
That you haven't been here for a while.
Officially back.
So we're going to take advantage of that as much as possible while you're here before you leave us again.
I would never.
So let's talk a little bit about what your journey in dance has been since you graduated from high school and what you did, So You Think You Dance, and where all that took you.
Honestly, it's been crazy to think about it. Reflecting back on everything that I've done after graduating from Coral Reef.
Yay.
I moved to LA and started working in the industry. I was a part of many television shows like Glee. I did award shows like the Grammys, Billboard, Latin Billboards, things like that. And then I eventually, auditioned for Britney Spears at her Las Vegas residency, and I did that for a few years. I lived in Vegas for a while, and then I eventually was working as creative director and choreographer for one of the nightclubs. After that kind of like fell away, I then went to school for massage therapy. And then after that, moved back to Miami.
A lot of people remember you from So You Think You Can Dance.
Yes.
And that was an incredible season. So tell us a little bit, because So You Think You Can Dance isn't around really anymore. So people, don't realize, or like the young kids don't realize what a big deal it was.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your experience, because you auditioned before. You were too young. So tell us all about that.
Okay, so the So You Think journey is a whole different kind of entity in itself. So I auditioned originally when I was 15. They were having auditions at one of my old studios, Dance Empire. And my dance teacher, Angel, she was like, you should come audition for this. And I was like, okay, cool, sounds great, When I get to the actual studio and I start filling out the paperwork and going through the steps of the actual audition, I read that you must be 18 years old to audition for this. I go, I'm not 18. She's like, don't worry, just do it for the experience. And I was like, you know what? That's true, because with Angel, I actually did Star Search when I was 13 with my partner Candace, and of like, okay, how that it was actually being appreciated on a national scale. And so when So You Think You Can Dance came around and it was more of like a solo competition, I thought, why not just give it a chance? Even though I was 15, I thought, why not? Because I didn't think I would actually be chosen, But the producer, Jeff Thacker, amazing friend of mine, he actually was like, you know what, we actually really do like you. Could you come to New York for the main audition? And 15-year-old me, I'm like, of course.
Don't ask how old I am.
I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And like, they set up a whole interview outside, a whole like conversation. And eventually I told my mom, I was like, hey, so.
That's the kicker.
Yeah. I was like, so here's the thing. I lied. And I'm not of age, and I need you to kind of call them and tell them that. And she was not happy with me, but did the deed. But the producer, he wasn't upset. He was just like, you know what? I understand. I get it. How about you just come back when you're 18? And so years later, I went back when I was 18, again with my mom.
This time you didn't lie.
This time I didn't lie. Well, and it's funny because the same producer that auditioned me at 15 was there when I was 18. In the room, they try to create like anxiety. So like it was a dark lit room. They had all the dancers like lined up. Everyone did like a solo one at a time, and that was kind of like your audition for your audition. So before you saw the judges, you saw the producers, and I did my solo, moved on, and then they called me back into the room, and out of the dark abyss, this man comes and he's like, I remember you. He's like, you were 15 years old in Miami. And I was like, you remember him? And I was like, yeah, that was me. Awesome. He's like, I'm glad you're back. And so that was the second time technically I auditioned. Didn't make it that season, but the season after that, season 5, is when I got on with an amazing cast of dancers. A lot of the headliners from Miami were there also. Jeanette Monrara, Janine Mason, and so going into that experience, I was nervous and worried because you think that you can like handle it and you'll be able to like get through everything, but the like levels of like having to learn choreography, having to give interviews, having to deal with different choreographers, having to deal with different partners, it's very, I think that, you know, you have to learn this dance in like, they gave us like 2 days and you had to perfect these styles that usually aren't your style. So it was very intense to think that, okay, well, I'm going to get on this stage, perform this dance, and then be judged in front of America, you know, and having to stay positive and staying like upbeat about it. It's difficult.
Yeah.
But,
and you're 18, which,
yes.
I mean, looking back now, you were a baby.
Yeah.
So
yes.
it's, you know, somebody who's a couple years older, 21, 22, 23, have more experience. But at 18, what a baby.
A few of you were really, really young on that season.
We were. That we kind of looked up to. But all in all, it's just everybody became like such a great knit family because we all understood what we were going through and what we had to do. And I think it was just more like, you know what, let's just do what we can do. And then what happens when it comes to the judges or it comes to the critiques or it comes to the votes. So in that sense, you just had to kind of just trust in yourself and just know that you had to give all that you needed to give to get the dance done.
Yeah. What do you think was one of the hardest styles that you had to learn?
Viennese waltz.
I had a feeling you were going to mention that one.
Viennese waltz. Oh, my Lanta. That routine threw my brain for a loop. And the reason was, I don't want to call out the reason specifically. But, you know, it all comes down to the connection that you have with your partner. Mm-hmm, and it also comes down to how your choreographer is able to explain the dance that they're wanting you to do and also show you. Yeah. And I think that's something I did notice about the show is you have people who can choreograph and you have people who can teach. And some people don't know how to teach their choreography in a way where like another person can like understand and get it.
Especially somebody who doesn't know the style.
Right. Exactly. And I was just about to say it. And that mainly happened with ballroom because, you know, coming as a contemporary dancer on the show, you know, the style and the technique and the language of the actual style is tricky. It's different. You know, they even count different. You know, they don't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They start on a 2. And I'm like, what? He's like, you just got to fall into it. I was like onto the floor?
I'm confused about what you mean.
Very confused. And so I think that was the hardest thing is like, and I think also as a performer, you want to do your best always. So when you think that you are doing it and you get told that's not it, you start to doubt yourself. Yeah. You know, you start to wonder like, well, can
especially
I do
in
it?
Such a competitive environment.
Exactly. And so with that, it was just kind of like, you know, trust yourself and then what'll happen. And unfortunately, that wasn't the best week for me. But I said...
But you survived it.
I was like, but I'm not going home. I was like, it was the bottom 3. And I literally looked at the other 2 and I was like, I don't know which one of y'all going home, but it's not me. So I was like...
Well, it's almost like they set you up for failure knowing that if there's, you know, a couple that has hip hop, another one that has like a contemporary, they're giving you a waltz. Yeah. Like, you know, come on. You know that the audience is gonna, especially people who are watching this and aren't like real dancers, they're not appreciating that. They're like, oh, hip hop is so much fun. I want that. Yeah. So that's, you know, setting you up there.
Yeah. And like they don't understand how hard it is to learn that style. Yeah. You know, I think when it comes to like the television show in itself, it's all about entertainment. And that's why you have a lot of choreographers do very gimmicky things because that's what gets the audience's attention. That's what gets votes. That's what keeps you basically on the show because yes, we're competing, but also the choreographers are auditioning. Like your choreography needs to be great and it needs to have a response so that you can come back on. And I felt that a lot of the choreographers as the years went on, they were trying more to just keep a job than actually like give substance or give a sort of like understanding of like, you know, dance and what they're producing. In
And you guys had some pretty iconic dances that season too, like Gravity.
Gravity was honestly one of the best dances I think produced that season. I had a disco that everybody loved, you know, and so I loved what we went through on our season, but it was a lot.
What do you think was your favorite one?
My favorite dance was the cha-cha that I did with Jeanette.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
Hush
that one.
Hush by Pussycat Dolls. And honestly, when we first started that, it was kind of like I was ready because I was like, cha-cha, I'm from Miami. Kickball change. But again, the technique and the language of it was just so tricky to understand and get. And they used the word paint the floor with your feet, you know, and I was like, okay. But once again, I just was like, I'm just going to go out and have fun. And it honestly was the best time.
And your solo was one of the most iconic solos ever.
It sure was.
I mean, that solo was at the end, right? You did that one.
So I initially did it for my first audition. Not my first audition. I did it for that season in the beginning to get onto the show. And then when it got down to like the final, I think it was top 6, they were like, this is the solo that you need to do to move on to the top 4. And I was like, I'm bringing it back. Camila DeBrana.
Did you have to have a solo ready?
Yes. So every week, basically, you have to curate a solo just for safety. You never know if you were going to be in the bottom or not, so you always had to have a solo prepared. Then when it got towards the end, they made everyone do solos, so you obviously had to then create your own solo for that episode. So
did you choreograph the solo, or did other people choreograph it for
all
you?
My solos were all choreographed by myself.
Okay.
Right. I did improv once, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. And so then I started to choreograph my own solos, just because even now with dancers, like when they improv or their freestyle, there's no consciousness about, okay, where am I moving? What am I doing with my body? You just kind of just go. And it could look a little like flailing or unstable and things like that. So in order to like keep the calmness of like the stress of being in the bottom, I thought it was always best to let me just choreograph something so I have it. And luckily, if you don't get in the bottom that week, you could do the same solo next week. Yeah. So I rarely had to choreograph my solo. I'm just saying.
It was a big season for Miami. There were 3 Miami people.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was such a big season.
I loved it.
Yeah, it sucks that it's gone and we don't have that anymore. And even then, towards the end, it kind of like lost. They tried to do so many different things with it. I love the original that they had and the way it was. And you came back several times as All-Star, right?
All-Star, yes, ma'am.
Which that's cool because you got to like get back up there, dance with other people and stuff. So what great connections.
Cool. It was cool to go back as an All-Star just to kind of like get back into the trajectory of things. But it was hard because it was like you're a contestant again, to be honest. Like having to do those I'm sorry, not the solos, but having to do the choreography and like the dances and over again. I was like, oh my God, I forgot how we did. I'm tired.
No, then you have the stress of, you've got to do your duet really well because, this dancer's relying on you. So.
Exactly.
But when they would bring you back as All-Star, would they bring you back like saying, what's your style, or like whatever style they stuck you with, you were stuck with?
So how you got brought back as an All-Star was the choreographer. The choreographer specifically would request certain all-stars. They would tell the choreographers, these are the all-stars you have for this episode. And the choreographers would say, okay, I want this person for this dance. And that's kind of how you were chosen. Oh, cool. For me specifically, I did a lot of disco and I did a lot of Broadway. And there was one time I did a Bollywood disco.
I remember that.
Yes, I was going to say, I remember that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Very new, and that was the first and last time premiered on this show.
Well, I mean, clearly you got great connections because you got to work with all these amazing choreographers that, you got connected with, and then dancers who you don't know what it's going to take you later on. So do you still have friendships with these, any of the dancers? And
yeah, for our entire So You Think family from my season 5, majority of us definitely stay in touch through like social media. I think social media is great in that aspect of you can see what people are doing and kind of interact with them and give them like a, hey, what's up? How you doing? Things like that. And so it does keep that connection, and it does help with certain things like going on. Like say if there's a convention coming into town and like I want to go take a class, I'll hit up like Tony Bellissimo and let him know like, hey, are you going to be in town? Like, can I come? He's like, yeah, of course. Things like that. And so it's cool to like still think that we all still like are looking out for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And you lived with a Dave for a while.
I did. So, that was my homeboy. Yeah. I actually lived with him since the show. So we went on tour. After the show ended, we did a 40-city tour. And after that, Ade and I moved to LA together. And we were roommates for about, I want to say like 15 years.
So a lot of cool things come out of that.
Yeah, it does.
So you think that's when you moved out to LA. Mm-hmm. What did you start doing over there? How was that? Because so many dancers want, like their dream is, I'm going to move to LA and I want to be famous or whatever. And, you know, for some people it's harder than others. What was the experience for you?
You know, it wasn't as smooth for me, to be honest. To be first runner-up and move out to LA, I thought I would have been booked consistently. I thought that my calendar would have been stacked and I would have no time for myself. But sadly, I joined the wrong agency and I put my trust in the wrong people, and I didn't feel like I really was used in the capacity of what my availability was.
And again, you were young, so
exactly.
You know, you probably made decisions that, you know, like, oh, look how great this seems, and not know any better.
Yeah, and the thing about LA too, which is something that I think everyone obviously knows, is it's all glamour and flashy lights until you get there. When you get there and you have to like kind of like put in the work and start talking to people, start interacting, it's a bit harder because LA has a way of shutting people out who really have talent. Mm-hmm. And they are afraid of someone coming in and taking their spot, you know? And I think with that and going into what I wanted to do as a career, I think that a lot of people were just like, oh, well, his time will come, or he'll get there, or, you know what, we'll wait for this moment because his moment's not now. And I felt like I kept getting that back seat of everything. And they're like, hey, you booked this job. Like, we didn't know that you were like interested in it. And I'm like,
I'm interested in any job.
I was like, okay.
Why wouldn't I want to dance?
Why would I not want to? Yeah, I didn't understand that. So I feel like with moving to LA, you really have to have a strong backbone and just know that you're going to get no's, but also know that you have to fight for what you truly believe is your worth.
Yeah.
And I think I had to really learn the hard way in that, because you also see like so many individuals around you booking consistently. You see so many people going to auditions or going to that audition, you know. I'm being invited to cattle calls, but not private calls, you know. And then when I booked, you know, certain things, then my agency will be like, oh, okay, well, you booked this. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't help me book it. So I would say just really be careful about who you're putting your trust in. And just know that, vocalize how you're feeling, respect others around you, and just know that your hard work will pay off.
What if a dancer doesn't want to have an agent? Is it possible?
Yeah, it is possible. It's possible to not have an agent, but you're not going to probably get as many calls. Booking choreographers, they like to go through agencies. Yeah. They like to do a look at a roster of certain agencies and like pick certain people. And if you're not a part of that, then you're not gonna really be invited into those things unless you are like in the room with that choreographer. So that's why a lot of people also go to classes a lot in LA. You know, they go to so many classes because they're thinking that you going to class and you interacting with this choreographer is gonna eventually at some point get you a booking from them. But not all choreographers are like that, you know? And a lot of times, a lot of choreographers have their main people that they already always use. And if you're not in that circle, then it'll be harder for you to actually be invited to some of those castings.
Yeah. What do you think was your favorite dance job that you've done?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Besides choreographing for Corey, I'm sure that
right.
right.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah, clearly. I'd probably say Britney. Britney Las Vegas residency was the biggest kind of like full circle, because I would be in my like living room watching like the Onyx tour.
Yeah.
And I'd like look back at my mom and I'm like, I'm gonna do that one day.
I was gonna say that's my favorite job that Brandon's done.
Yeah, it was it was the hardest thing close to So You Think You Can Dance.
Yeah.
In my career. Yes.
And that was like every day, like you were dancing every single day, or
not
like
every day for that show. That show specifically. So basically, we did every single day when we were learning the actual show. But when we started the actual shows in Vegas, we only had 3 days of work. But it was so much on the body that we could only do 3 days.
Yeah.
And you would like, that actual show was the first time that I actually got an injury.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
I remember you had that conversation with me that you had never been injured until then because of how hard it was.
Yes. It was I blew out both my shoulders, intercostals. Like that show took me through it. Loved it, but it definitely was hard.
And that was all in Vegas.
All in Vegas. Well, so technically the 4 years were in Vegas, but there were 2 moments that we actually did a couple tours. We went to Asia for a month, and then we went to Europe for a month. So we did that after the shows ended, and then we also did the Asia tour when we were in our second, because we did it for 4 years. So after our second year, we did an Asia tour, and then after our 4th year, we did a European tour.
Yeah. How was it working with Britney?
I love Britney, and I love the cast, and I loved working on the project. Personally, I would have loved to be able to like had more moments with her. You know, I would have loved for us to connect a bit more, but that was a very hard time for her. So we weren't able to really enjoy the fruits of our labors.
Yeah.
But she was always so sweet. She was always so genuine. She is a funny girl. She is a funny girl, and she knows it. But yeah.
And she could dance. I mean, you know, she was a dancer when she was young, and you know the things that she did when she was younger. I mean, you know,
she really was an icon in her time.
No, she really was. And she even choreographed some of our dances for our second leg of our residency. Wow. So we revamped it, and then she wanted to choreograph some dances, and so they gave her free leeway, and she choreographed some of the routines. And it was so funny because she would be like, she's like, okay, you guys, we're just gonna do a little something. And then she'd do it. She's like, oh, no. And we're like, no, do it, Brittany. So she was very what do I say? It was like she would like judge herself. She was very judgmental of herself, and she would be like, no, that's not good enough. And we would obviously give her that affirmation and support and be like, listen, you do you. You are Britney Spears, girl. You do what you do, and we will follow.
She was very down to earth.
Very down to earth, yes. Very Southern, very down to earth, very sweet. Don't get her mad. But but like always like such a joy and amazing to work with.
Yeah, that is a once in a lifetime experience, because so many people, I mean, when you guys were young, every time we would have a student choreography show, somebody did a Britney Spears.
Of course.
Exactly.
So
Britney's iconic.
Everybody, you know, would have loved to have worked with her. So, you know, what a great experience that you got that. Who else did you work with that was amazing like that?
I did do a performance with Paula Abdul. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
She was a fun girl.
She's another icon.
And I also did a performance on Dancing with the Stars with Annie Lennox.
Oh wow!
And that was special. That was like a beautiful moment to kind of like have, and came out of nowhere. Yeah. They were just like, "Are you available for this performance with Annie Lennox?" And I was like, "Yeah."
even if I'm not, I'm gonna make myself available.
Yeah. And she was honestly the sweetest. She was the most kind, genuine. She gave us a copy of her CD. She signed it. I was like, "What am I gonna do with this CD?" But but thank you.
There are still CDs.
Yeah, literally, I was like, "I don't have a player, but thanks, Annie."
But you framed that. That's
exactly.
That's what you do with that.
Yes. And so that was really special.
So do you still take classes or teach classes? What do you do now that now you've moved on from backup dancing and stuff like that?
Now you're back in Miami.
I know. I still teach class. I love to also take class. I think as an artist, you're always learning, and also with the art form of dance, I think it's always evolving, and so I think it's very important to be on top of the evolution. So I love taking class. I love being a part of people who are hungry for the art and just like kind of put the effort in there. And as of right now, my new job is I am artistic director for Hip Hop Kids.
Oh, that's so cool. So tell us about Hip Hop Kids.
So Hip Hop Kids was a company that I was a part of when I was younger. Their motto is no drugs, no violence, just dance. And the owner, her name is Susie Stone. She found me way back in the day when I was like, I'm going to say middle school. And she saw some talent in me and she said, you should come check out one of our hip hop classes. And my parents were like, what else is he going to do? Let's go check it out, you know? And I loved it. They're a performing group that go around Florida and just kind of like give back with like their energy, their presence, their performance, their inspiration to like kids. It's very amazing to come back home and have a full circle moment of this whole experience, because without Hip Hop Kids, you know, I wouldn't have had the courage to actually pursue a career in dance.
And the kids, what are the age groups?
Kids range from 7 up to like 18.
Oh, wow.
And like I mentioned, basically what we do is we just do performances around Florida. We perform at the Heat halftime show. We do black tie events. We do Winterfests. We do just all kinds of sorts of things.
And do kids, could they just take class or they have to be part of the performance group?
So you have to be a part of the actual troupe. But the actual company is a performance troupe where that you basically kind of sign up for it. And anyone can sign up, however age and whatever you're interested in. And it's basically just you come in, you learn some choreography, you learn tools about dance, about life, about your career, and then you just enjoy learning about being a part of a team, how to work as a team, and
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself more a contemporary or a hip hop dancer teacher?
I kind of see myself as both contemporary and hip hop. I love contemporary dance, but I grew up doing hip hop. So I feel like what I give myself is the contemp pop title, where the fluidity of the movement in contemporary, but also the articulation of like hip hop and popping and locking.
So to be clear, not waltz.
I wasn't sure about that one.
Never once.
Or Bollywood disco.
No.
You know, I dabble a little bit here and there for special events. You can hire me.
So we can't bring you to do a waltz class, and
I mean, you can, but you won't get the proper technique.
I feel like there was one time where, and maybe when I was at Coral Reef, maybe when you brought him in to teach a Bollywood class.
I think it was a disco.
Oh yeah.
Was it disco?
Yes.
Maybe, but like it was definitely
disco.
something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine I grew up taking class with you. You did a solo for me. Like you did all those things that I remember being.
Do you remember the solo you did for her?
I do not remember.
So you did a solo for her, and it was a jump.
Gosh,
it was for jump, and we were
No,
there.
you're definitely thinking of a different one. You're thinking of the one that Ricky did.
No, because I remember him standing next to me, and we're at jump, and we're saying, okay, here she comes out, and in the first step she goes ball change, and she does the first ball change, trips, falls on the floor, and we both went, oh.
I was covered.
And then she got up, and we're like, oh, okay, all right, well.
It was a commitment. That's
Yeah. No, definitely commitment. She ate it, she fell, she rolled, she came back up, and then let's move on.
Let's go.
I think that your hair was your hair wasn't wet, so
No,
we can't even blame
it's
it on
different.
the fact that your feet were wet or something. No, you just fell.
I did. It's fine. I tripped, but I think I still placed. It was fine.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Doesn't
I
matter.
placed. I came off with a smile on my face.
So yeah, full circle of
Yes.
of having you around and choreographing. So for those who don't know, Brandon choreographed Corey's first White Jackets.
Yeah, that was interesting, because how it happened actually the year before we had.
No, it was that year we're not even going to mention the person's name.
Yeah, I was like.
We had somebody choreograph, and when they finished, we were like, okay, thank you. And we're like, what is this? And we're like, scratch it all.
Yeah.
And we really had no time, no money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Brandon, can you do it? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. And Cuda Air came out. It was like prehistoric machinery that we had.
And I have vague recollections of this product.
Like the perfect little voice.
Yeah,
and
it was perfect.
Mixed everything ourselves right there on SoundForge, I think it was.
Yeah, it was SoundForge back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I think we're going to do this theme. And she was like, yeah, I could say that. And I was like, bet. I was like, I love it.
It was great. Where we're going now, we're going to go to Spain. Welcome to Spain. Okay, let's go. Spain it is. And then it was back to Miami with Pitbull. And we ended with Pitbull.
And costumes were inspired by Britney.
Yeah. No, it wasn't inspired by Britney. Absolutely not. It was inspired by a Victoria's Secret fashion show. And I remember just watching and going, whoa. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's the costume.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah. And then we did like pleather
long boots
that were like they covered the shoes, and then because they were sweating and they got wet, they started stretching and falling down. So many crazy things.
But we still won.
We still won.
Still won with it.
We still won. And
I actually still have people talk to me about that specifically.
Yeah,
there's a convention that I work for called Stage 8. And as I mentioned, I was like, oh, I'm part of Core Reef. They're like, wait, you guys did Cuda Air, right? And I was like, yeah, I actually choreographed it. Are you serious? I was like, the fact that we're still being brought up, it just shows how amazing.
I have a really funny. So I judge for dance team union competitions, and in one of the competitions that I'm judging, I get to my room and the person who's staying with me, the other judge, isn't there yet. She gets there super late in the middle of the night. So in the morning when I wake up, it's still kind of dark. I don't want to make noise. And she wakes up. She's like, oh, sorry, I got in late. We're just kind of talking. The lights are still off, whatever. And she starts talking about, oh, no, because I coached at this school. Where'd you coach? I Core Reef. And she's like, Core Reef? You're the Core Reef coach? And she starts talking. She's like, oh, my gosh.
She doesn't see you yet because the lights are off.
Her name is Shan, by the way. I love you, Shan. Yeah. She became my best friend. She's the funniest thing in the world. But then she's like, oh, my God. Cuda Air, and she starts talking about Cuda Air.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is 20 years ago almost.
Yes.
And she was like, that was one of her facials. I don't want to, I didn't copy, but I got inspired by it. And she starts talking about Cuda Air and all. And I was like, wow, how many dances have we done since then?
Yeah.
For people to still remember Cuda Air. And then, of course, she started asking all these questions about Cuda Air and stuff. And me and Shan became best friends after that. She lives on the other side of the country, so we don't see each other often. But yes,
awesome. I love that. Yeah. I love it. It just makes my heart so happy just to know that it's still bringing smiles to people's faces.
It was a great concept. It was different. Nobody else was doing stuff like that, so it was very different. Everything about it. The costuming, the music, the dancing.
It was a show. It was a performance.
It was. And that's how I always do everything. There needs to be, first of all, a beginning and an end, a concept, a theme, a full, encompassing just concept.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes an actual performance. To just get out there and just do steps. I'm like, okay, great, love it. But are you actually invoking anything? Are you bringing me to an emotion? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I excited? What am I doing to get involved into this? And I love doing choreography like that and working with individuals who want to do that. And at that time, everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go all the way in.
And you understood the Miami style. So bringing that Miami flair into it, it added what was needed at the moment. And I mean, UDA was kind of like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
But there was just, no touching it. I mean, it was iconic. And you were 17 years old, a baby. So, it was a proud moment.
I know. I know. It's crazy to think that I was a part of the first White Jackets of Core Reef.
Yeah.
And then we just kept winning from there.
Well, it was a struggle. It wasn't easy. Definitely not easy back then. It was very hard building our way up there and making our name for ourselves.
Yes.
But you definitely were the one that put the mark on UDA for us.
That's what I do, baby.
And we love it, and we love that you're still a part of it, and you're still here, and we're lucky that we get to still bring you back to come and teach classes and
always,
master teachers.
Always give back.
We love it. We love having you, and we're gonna take more advantage of it since you're back here in Miami now. Yeah. So besides Hip Hop Kids, you're also doing massage. So before you go, tell us a little bit about that.
So as I was trying to figure out what can I do with my life next, because I feel like I hit everything in my career. I was on Star Search, So You Think You Can Dance. Britney did the whole thing in LA. I was in Vegas for a little bit, and so I was kind of in this pause of shifting gears in my career, and massage therapy was something that was always in the background in my head that I kind of wanted to look into. And there was an amazing school in Las Vegas called Northwest Career College, and they were the #1 school for massage therapy. And I went in for, a consultation, and they kind of informed me. They're like, oh, this is the best part. Have you ever applied for college before? And I was they're like, oh, well, since you have it, you can get this grant and this grant and this grant. And I was like, perfect. Love it. So I did 6 months, a 6-month course to get 600 hours to be a licensed massage therapist. And I went through anatomy courses, physiology, kinesthetics. I basically went back to school at 36, and it was the scariest thing of my entire life.
Reading, memorizing, crazy.
The muscles of the body, the joints, the ligaments, the connections, what muscle does what, how does it connect to what, pathologies. Oh my Lanta. Pathologies was wild to me. But I knew it was something that I really wanted to do, mainly because when I was younger, my mom would always have me massage her. And as I got older, I noticed that, she started to develop arthritis and things like that. And things of her body just started to kind of worry me. And I wanted to get this certification so that I could help any way that I can. And I was happy to say that I am now a licensed massage therapist, and I can help heal anyone that's injured. I think it's one of the superpowers that I didn't know I had. And that was a blessing to know that not only do I have dance, but I also have massage therapy, because I can teach someone, but I can also heal them.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, we're so proud of you, Brandon.
Thank you.
And we're so happy that you're back here in Miami.
I know. I'm so happy to be back. I love it. It's been weird.
It's been weird. Well, it's Miami. So.
Yeah. I keep saying, I'm like, Miami's not a real place. I was like,
a lot happens.
Whenever you need me, call me.
Yeah. We love you.
I love you guys too.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. And to our audience, thank you for spending some time with us and with the amazing Brandon Bryant.
And if you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to click on the link tree in our bio and fill out our Google form.
Bye, guys.
Bye.